Hello, everybody. Welcome for another long awaited on my part Paranormal investigation. And tonight, my special guest is Hershe. Many of you know her, Hershe, the shadow reader from YouTube. And
Yes,
I've
many of
been trying to get her on the channel for a while. It's slacking on my part, but tonight is going to be a very special night. Hershey lived in the Paula Sims house, and until yesterday, or 2 days ago, I didn't know who Paula Sims was. But we're going to get into that. She had a lot of, let's just say, experiences. So tonight we're going to get into that, but first I'm going to don't know what I'm going to do, but I just want to thank everybody for popping in, and I'm trying to find my video, and I knew this would happen. So yeah, so I'm going to play a quickie video to introduce Tarotnormal for those of you who've never seen it before, and we'll be right back. Oh my gosh. So, as the video says, grab your decks because in Paranormal Investigation, we not only investigate, but the chatters also investigate. So, if you have a tarot or oracle deck, make sure you got it. Grab a cup of whatever you like to drink. I got to be alert for this, so I got my tea.
I got my cup.
Your drink of choice. So, all right. So, yes, tonight is not readings for personal readings. Tonight is investigating let me show the banner here. So, welcome to Paranormal Investigation. Hershey's our guest tonight, and I will be your ghost for this evening. Hershey.
Yeah.
Hershey.
Huh?
Hershey. Hershey has stories for you all. So let's do this. Let's grab a deck, and she's just going to tell a little snippet of the Sims house, as I put it on YouTube in case there's some sort of legal attachment to the other name. And before we actually start our readings, I will call in protection because just as a Ouija board is something to play with, this is for entertainment purposes only. And, but, when you play with, let's just say, otherworldly energies, it's not something to play with. So we always call in protection before we actually start our readings. So, yeah, so Hershey used to live in Alton, Illinois, which is a haunted town within itself. And she lived in a particular house and that had a lot of activity. And I'm going to hand it over to Hershey to start her story for us.
Oh my gosh. Hi everybody. The Alton, right? So my my kids and I as grown-ups, they we we wanted to try to live together. Um, we hadn't lived together since they were children, so I needed a house that we could all have room, right? So I was like, okay, so um, one of them didn't want to live in Cahokia at the time where I was living. So we looked just right outside of Cahokia. They didn't want to live there because of the energy, right? Because of the Cahokia Mounds and being how close it is to the Mississippi River. So they were like, well, at least that part of it right there, because it's pretty rough right there. So they wanted to go up a little farther. So anyway, long story short, they found a house in Alton, and I was like, "You guys realize where Alton's at, right?" Anyway, they agreed, but it wasn't that bad, right? So
So you
anyway,
knew about Alton,
oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
about
And I tried to
okay.
tell them like it's for one, it's still connected to the Mississippi. There's a lock and dam here. It's even different kind of energy. Like maybe the bend isn't here and maybe the so-called bridge isn't here that kind of terrified them. Um but it's still connected.
And there's a lot
It's
of
still haunted.
limestone around that area in the Mississippi, right? Which, if
Yes, ma'am.
anybody doesn't know, holds energies.
Very much.
Okay, so you
So
knew about Alton.
yes, yes, I did. So we thought that we would look at houses in a specific zone. There was a school that the kids wanted to be in that certain area for their kids to go to school. So we were looking in this general area, and we saw a house that fit all the criteria. Had a fenced in yard, had a driveway that was a half U. So, we could pull all the way in because it was semi busy street, so it wasn't easy to back in and out of, but you can pull in and out
Oh,
of. But, it met all the criteria. So we went, we did the walkthrough, we did all the applications. A couple of days later, they call us back and they're like, "Come on back for the second walkthrough." And this point is you do like the second part of the deposit, and you do the fingerprinting, and you meet
fingerprinting.
the homeowner at that point. And so the first part is with the company, the second part is with the owner.
Oh,
And you get the
wow.
keys and everything, right? So anyway, I thought it was weird myself. So we all went and we did our part and we were sitting there getting our keys. And not one time did anyone ever say this house was had a lot of energy, but I could feel it. And I kept asking them, like, is there anything, like, did anything happen in this house? Is there anything that we need to know about this house? Nothing. They said nothing about the house.
Wow.
The people said nothing. So after we had moved in, my kids all chose where they wanted to be at, and I wanted to be as far away from them and have my own peace of mind as possible. So the basement was set up in like a small living arrangement all in itself. It had a living room, a bedroom, like a kitchenette kind of area, and a bathroom. Well, a half bath. So I would have to go upstairs to take showers and stuff. And if I wanted to cook like a whole meal, I would have to go upstairs to use the kitchen. But other than that, I had my own living room, my own bedroom, bathroom. I was pretty much set up. So as I would set up, I would notice that just I would hear giggling, and I would always hear what at the time didn't make sense, but I would always hear loudly, "No girls allowed," and something would fall or something would like just tumble or something, and I'd look up because I could hear it. It wasn't ever in like my area; it was in
So it
like
was
an
like a
upstairs
disembodied
part.
voice. It wasn't in your head.
No, it was not in my head. It was not at
Wow.
all in my head. So
Mhm.
I started hearing my kids asking me like why are the kids so loud at night, and I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you don't hear it? And I was like, hear what? So on the third floor, it was a different energy, right? So it wasn't quiet.
Just
Okay,
3
so I missed a
floors.
little bit. When we did the walkthrough, it was like quiet. The house was stone quiet when we did the walkthrough, right?
Sure.
And then we moved in. It was a little bit of energy, and on the main floor, it was quiet in the basement, and the top floor just felt real light and airy. So it was 3 floors, well, 2 floors and a full basement.
Okay.
Uh, huh?
A basement.
Yeah. I like basements. I like basements. They're my own space. Most people are freaked out by them. I enjoy them.
Okay.
Anyway, so Christopher kept saying to one of the other siblings, like the kids are being too loud at night. Like I have to be able to sleep because I got to go to work. Blah 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 blah. And everybody's looking at him like the kids are asleep. What are you talking about? Well, after so long, I got tired of hearing the complaining. I started like sitting at like mid level on my stair level with my door open, and I could hear. And I started hearing like giggling, like little kids giggling. And I was like, "Holy shit, I hear giggling." So I would go upstairs and investigate. At that time, I would turn on my SB7 box, and it would just be quiet, no sound. And I'm like, "That's odd, right?"
Okay, so
So I would
for
just
for people who don't know what that is, can you tell them?
So it's a spirit box, but it's a little stronger than just your standard radio. It sweeps on different
Mhm.
levels so that there's an easier way for them to communicate or talk, and they can talk through the sweeps of the white noise.
Yeah,
Ghost and intelligent beings, it's not just ghost. Intelligent beings can talk through the white noise if they want to,
it's
if they have
fascinating.
enough energy built up.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know where I was at, but anyway,
Uh-huh.
so the upstairs, the top level of the house just felt very safe, and you could tell there was kids up there, and you could tell they were little boys. Like they were just, I don't know. I raised little boys, and then I have two nieces that grew up with my two sons. So watching two girls and two boys grow up, I watched how different they are, and I could tell that what I was hearing was boys. They said boy things, race cars and tracks and climbing trees and stuff. And yeah, it's not uncommon for girls, but these I can tell were also a different they were maybe one version back from me. So it would have been common phrases for little boys and girls to say, so especially in that area.
So you would hear the little boys were the disembodied voices, or
Yes.
they weren't actual
Yeah.
boys that with you.
No. No.
Mhm.
No. No. I didn't have a granddaughter at that time that lived in the house.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't have known what would have happened, thank God, because I'd have probably lost my mind.
Oh my
Um,
gosh! Oh my
so
gosh!
they and I started kind of understanding that when I would hear the chanting, the no girls allowed, um, something was happening, but it was happening to me, and I didn't recognize it. Um, my other children weren't there enough for them to be affected by it, I think. But me and the children were. So us being there when they weren't in school pretty much 24/7 gave them energy stirred up by the children that were constantly playing in the house and bringing in the energy of innocence that
Right.
was kind of feeding the not so um good energy that was happening in the bottom. It was like the best part of everything at the top was floating at the top, keeping everything contained into the basement so that it didn't get out. There was things that happening in that house that should have never happened. They I know that they say she never spoke on what she would do in that house, but I watched it like they showed me images of what she would do in that house and how she would act and chant and go into this horrible horrible place in her mind and not trust even the children she bore. If it was a girl, she couldn't trust it,
Okay,
even if
Hershey,
it
let
was
me
her
stop
own
you
child.
there because I don't think we've told everybody yet who she is. So,
Okay,
shall we give a little bit of who she is?
sure,
Who
yes,
lived in the house before you?
sure.
Yeah. And by before we tell her, let everybody know about you, your gifts, so how you're picking up on some of these things.
I I am a small version of a medium. I'm a trance medium. I try to help the dead. I try to cross them over when they're ready, and they have said all of their things and done all of their things they need to do to transition to the next situation, the next walk for them. I'm the type of person that helps them get to that location so that they can start the next part of their walk, regardless of what it is, even if it's to go back to the birth canal or even if it's to go to purgatory because they have a penance to pay. I
Yeah,
help them walk to the destination of their part that they
journey.
have to serve.
Mhm. Wow. Okay. Thank you. So you're trans medium. Yes.
Yes, I do a
Mhm.
lot of other things, but that's the main thing that I do.
Right. Right. Okay, which makes it a little more interesting living in this house because you would pick up on things some others wouldn't.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So let's let everybody who know who she is. You want to tell them?
Yeah.
You want me to
So
tell them?
yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, it's not easy for me to talk about her
Sure.
after
Right.
walking in her
Right.
shoes,
So
so to speak.
Hershey, knowingly, at the time, moved into Paula Sims' house. And Paula Sims was, she had a little bit of a notoriety of, it is hard to say. She has had killed her two baby girls. And these were not like, um, they weren't born around the same time. She killed them at different, I don't know a lot about her, but she killed one girl, had another, killed that girl. And so that was in 2017, I think, was it? Ish.
Around somewhere, I
Somewhere.
believe she was convicted. Well, no, I believe she was getting ready to get out in 2017.
Okay.
She had won her appeals. It happened long before that.
Okay. Yeah. I tried not to look into it because that's these. I don't like to know a whole lot going into these investigations. But when I found out who Paula Sims was, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, a lot more of her. So if you look up the haunted Illinois and you look up specifically haunted Alton Illinois Paula Sims house, it will send you a link to the actual FBI files. There was a movie that was made about her called No Girls Allowed. Um, so in Indiana, before she moved to Illinois, now none of this is proven, guys. That's all alleged, even to this day. So there's other missing girls. They're not biologically hers. They're just missing girls that were missing in the area that she lived in before she moved, and even before she did and took the life and unalived her own firstborn daughter in Indiana. Um, they went missing and they were never found. And when they realized who she was, they did try to. You can look at the FBI shows and see they did look into it, but they couldn't prove anything. But after what I think that I felt and seen, and that I saw some of the girls reenacting. I do believe that some of the girls, maybe not all of them, but some of them maybe did find her and she found them, and maybe took advantage of the fact of they were already missing, and maybe helped her get her nerve up to do what she ultimately did to her own biological daughters. She let her sons live,
Which
which
is interesting. So I
uh,
just want to make it
yeah,
clear we're not doing a true crimes investigation here. I just wanted everyone to be clear on the house that Hershey moved into, and so already they're settling unsettling energies. And
yes,
but you found out that she was chanting. Is that who you were
yes.
talking about?
So she brought a bloodthirst with her to a very haunted, uh, heavily blood-soaked land already. She brought a disgusting bloodthirst with her to a land that was already just seeping in hauntedness and a lot of dead. If all the dead would stand up, Illinois would have a hell of a population problem. I'm not kidding you. Um, it was already just so much energy that is unrest, and so I would read cards, or I would just be doing my normal daily thing, light a candle and doing my breathing techniques, or trying to meditate, or trying to help a client, or trying to help someone, because a lot of times when people or families reach out to me, it's already probably a pretty bad day for them to need
Wow.
someone's help like mine anyway. So I was really busy one day, and I was chanting, trying to locate, I believe, a missing child at that time. I forget what their name was, unfortunately. Um, Monks. I was deep in this chant, and it started very gentle, just a soft drum. I think maybe one or two candles going, just to protect my front and my back, so that I was all the way around. I had the four elements on both sides of me walking with me, and I had fire in uh, both my doors. So I thought I was protected, but apparently I wasn't. My kids said to pull me out of the chant, the trance, whatever it was at that point. They said it sounded demonic. I
Really?
don't believe that, they said that what was maybe soft and gentle, just a soft drum at the beginning, now sounded like war drums and a whole reenactment of, maybe like the worst horror movie they'd ever heard. They said that there was a scream. It wasn't like war chanting. It was more like war yakking and screaming and hollering, and like I don't know how my very soft meditation list had gotten so uh rough, but like she had a way to bring a bloodlust that was gross to a haunted, fully energized, charged land, and she twisted it. And she she would say things, and she would write things in the blood. Oh man. Ooh, um
Okay, so
yeah, I need to hold
let's
on.
take a moment, and I think what we're going to do is what it seems like is uh, I'm curious to know if there was something, being that Alton was a haunted hub, if there was something to do with the land itself, because what I read briefly, because like I said, I didn't want to know too much, was a lot of bloodshed in that uh, area due to Civil War, Underground Railroad, and I wonder if these energies um, are what make people do what they do, or unjust things that they do there.
I don't think it makes them do anything.
Well,
She was
influence.
already Yeah,
She
she was
was
already
already there.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, she was already there. I think that it twisted it. Like I think she was already sick in the head. I look, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just going by my own judgment after living in this woman's house, finding things that she had. I found a letter that she had wrote to a a part of her that she would never allow freedom or to be freed from. And the parts of this letter are I burnt this letter, and I'm not kidding you. I swept the ash and got rid of it. And every damn day there would be three lines that would show up like streaks, and it was that ash. I know it was that crazy. I don't know how to explain it, but I know it was that ash. And I'd clean the ash off, and it was show up the very next day in a different spot. One day it'd be over my bedroom area. One day it would be over the living room area. One day it would be like it was climbing up the stairs. Now, because of the protection levels I had, because I intensified my level of protection, now as you go up every step, my protection got stronger and stronger to protect my children and my grandkids. I think that's why by the time you got to the what I call the third floor, because of the design of how it was, um, it it got lighter in the house. So my kids and grandkids, they didn't really struggle with it. When they'd be on the main level, they'd be like, man, like if we just don't like it on this level, I'd be like, I'm doing the best I can to keep it at bay, you know. But yeah, the land itself was already twisted.
Hmm.
She just brought a twisted mentality with a bloodlust,
Right.
then it became something, I believe, I don't like to say the word demonically charged, but it was definitely very negatively influenced. And she went to a very negative, unnatural, unsacred, disgusting place, mentally and physically
Right.
and emotionally.
Okay. Give me 1 second here. So, well, I'm gonna. I think this would be a perfect time to call in that protection as you're getting into the story and start pulling cards. Little witchy one. Okay, I was wondering if that first card was a card that you pulled that give you that bull of strength, masculine force. Here, let me put it up here.
Mhm.
So she's already pulling cards. So the bull strength, masculine force, resolute rules, leadership, dominance, control, power, commanding presence. So, what deck are you using?
Sounds wonderful. Mm.
Yeah, let's see. And then she pulled card number 3, brings the other two together. Anger in attempt to mask insecurity. Wow. All right, everyone. Now that we're getting into kind of that nitty gritty energy, I usually call in protection a little sooner, but I didn't expect to get into that energy right away. I should have known because I heard a little bit. But yeah, so everybody just take a quick moment because, like I said earlier, I got off track, is what happened when I was talking about the Ouija board. Um, you know, it's a game to some innocent people, but they don't realize this game can open portals. And even though what we are doing tonight is for entertainment purposes only, it touches on energies, and so we don't want to bring in any kind of lower energies into our sacred space here. So, everybody, if you will, just take a deep breath And just a quick little, I call in the infinite intelligence of the white light of protection and Archangel Michael and his mighty sword. I call in this protection to each and every one of us who are listening to Hershe's story, who are in the chat, who might be watching this back. I call in the protection to protect them, all of our guides and angels, and our homes and our loved ones. Protect us from lower energy beings and protect us from lower energies. May they all be deflected away. They have no permission to attach themselves to us all. And that's what I say. Do you want to add anything, Hershey?
Uh, so mote it be.
So okay. So all right. So I think we should start pulling some cards. Um, so like I said, I usually have core questions, and I don't know. Do you want to pull about the energy of the land since you think it maybe accelerated, or do we kind of know the energies right now?
Um, so I think to maybe understand would be to just so I did pull some cards on, the land itself, like from this lock and dam kind of space, because like if you draw a line there and then you like we're making a triangle to connect like how it went. Um there's a spot that just tips the edge of what they would consider the Cahokia Mounds territory. And
The
that
Cahokia.
that territory itself, the Mississippians were they were peaceful, but they didn't meet peace. They tried
Right,
to
right.
have peace, and they tried to allow many different types of ways to live in one spot and in one place. And for a while, it was peaceful, but again, negativity takes over and kicks in, and so does greed, and it was the tipping point that made and the start of that
Molly,
place be
is it?
very, very unhealthy. So I got Ace of Cups in reverse, and I
Oh,
got Lion in reverse. Lion represents courage, leadership, and power, and I got both of these in the challenge position. So although, like I
wow.
said, it was love, it was a place of love, but it turned into something quite differently once the Vikings and the
Right.
British turned it into something quite different. What was a peaceful land with a chief turned into something they didn't recognize anymore, and then it was the sanctuary became something that was contaminated, and the people that now are living there, they're cunning, they're slick with it, they've got that slick words, and they're slithering, and they're not very very clean. They're very very nasty and intentionally trying to get whatever they can get. So
Right.
the cunning is very
Wow.
backstabbing in a way. The energy is horrible. It's not a good energy.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So I'm not even going to pull cards on that one because that pretty much describes Alton and the surrounding areas of Alton. Yeah. Do
Yeah,
you know?
unfortunately.
Yeah. So the Cahokia, is that what you call them?
Cahokia.
Cahokia. So that's
Uh-huh.
an Indian tribe. I haven't heard of them. So
Well, the land, the tribe is the Mississippians. The land is called the Cahokian Mounds, and it's because of how they lived. They built mounds, and they lived on these mounds, and every mound is a different shape because it represented something different. Whether it was a educational place, a place of business,
mhm.
or a residential place, or a place of worship, or a place of burial. So they're all the different shapes represented a different mound and what that mound stood for. And the mound also, because of how much it would flood with the Mississippi River at that point, because at that point it was still running in a downward position. the big storm hadn't happened that forced it to start running literally backwards and
Backwards.
flowing in a different direction. Yeah, it's kind of right in that area where some supernatural storms or what's believed through faith and through lore changed the energy of from Alton to East St. Louis, which is where the Cahokia Mounds kind of starts, and then they go all the way up past Springfield and into uh, I think it's just past Springfield, Illinois.
Oh,
It was huge. The Mississippians was one of the biggest tribes and living uh, uh, living working colonies of different genres and races that we had for the time.
right,
Um, but they got the differences were
right.
not equally shared.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to go to Julie, Little Zen Crone. Her first card she pulled was love, keyword compassion. So
Mm-hmm.
that describes
Yeah.
them
What's
for
the number?
sure. And then welcome, Little Witchy One, by the way. New subscriber. Thank you. Oral dream, or oral, auroral dreams. um, Ether dance and confinement cards fell out together. That's very interesting. Wow. All right. So I'm curious about the little boys, and we're gonna pull cards, tell a little more story, pull some more cards. That's how we work here, and see what develops. But again, for legal purposes, I have to say for entertainment purposes only. But more often than not, as we pull cards, it's amazing what stories unfold that could, you know, we all in the tarot community say the cards don't lie. We believe in what we're pulling on is a high probability of what we're reading on, but it is still for entertainment purposes only. Um, Jilly says, I feel the land screaming for understanding, love, and compassion. Jilly, wow.
Yeah, and there's still unfortunately it, East St. Louis all the way to probably just past Quincy there, all of that right through there on that side of this side of the Mississippi. It's rough. It's all really rough right through there. I mean, it does not get lighter. There's one horrific story after another. There's one more person that maybe wasn't so negative when they moved to that place, but living in that space after so long, if you're toxic, it feeds off of you, and then
Mhm.
you become something you don't recognize. Like man, I don't know. Me and my family got into some horrible fights due to the energy, and we would leave for a day or two and come back and be like, it's really this house. There's just
Wow.
that much negative in the house. And when we
Mhm.
talked to the owners, we would be like, like what happened in this house? And then finally he said, I guess we should just tell you. And I'm like, tell me what?
Oh my
And at
gosh.
that point, I still, and this goes like back, we lived there for 2.5 years before I just couldn't take it anymore. I tried to cleanse, neutralize, neutralize, neutralize. My family tried. We tried. We tried. We tried. It
Wow.
goes so deep. It is the
I was
infection
just going to say
that
that.
just
It-
cannot be removed. Like you cannot
wow.
get to the core of the infection, no matter how much you sterilize, cleanse, smoke, repeat, cleanse, sterilize, just
Wow.
get, oh my God, you can't.
So that's kind
Like
of a
it's so
lesson
much
for us all
negative.
not to get complacent on our protection. And I say that often to myself. I'm like, just because I call in protection, there's some forces out there I'm just a little ladybug in the game of life. And, I feel protected. I feel my boys and I are very well protected. But,
Absolutely.
but against larger entities and forces,
Mhm.
we just cannot become that's why, I
It's
always
sad. They
protect.
feed it. They feed it. It's
Yeah.
literally it's historically known as the most haunted city in America, Alton,
Wow.
Illinois. Blah 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 blah. It's a commercial how they advertise the haunting, but and it's not just the
Mhm.
Paula Sims house. They do it with the McPike Mansion. They do it with the railroad. Oh my God, the horrible, horrible, horrible. So there's this one. There was this no, I don't like using the S word, but it is what it is. They were from Africa and they were a slave and they didn't like it here. They didn't like it. Um they lived somewhere here in the South and they escaped and they were living in the somewhere in the area, somewhere between uh where I lived at and where uh the railroad I mean not the railroad, the lock and dam is. So somewhere between there they were either living or at first hiding until they realized that they were far enough north that they didn't have to maybe hide quite so much. And after years, I guess a warrant of some kind had caught up with them, and they didn't want to come here, so they started committing crimes there in
Mhm.
Alton,
Mhm.
and um, they thought it would help them. They thought it would keep them, in the north, so that they didn't have to come back down here and possibly well, anyway, they ended up having to come back down here, and it cost them their life. But they would talk about the horrible stories that happened to um, the other slaves that maybe thought they were going to get away and didn't get away, or just how um, they, were taken advantage of in other ways. So unfortunately, Alton has many levels and layers of just not the friendliest. We've even got the mob that wanted to put down roots, so to speak,
You're right.
in that area because it was already a bad area, and the police don't come to that area just
Sure.
because. So it's easy to put down roots in places that's already kind of got that kind of energy, and then it
Right.
just gets fed. You just
Yeah.
feed it. The
Yeah.
more yuck you put on it, the
Yeah.
more it gets fed.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, I would like to ask about the well, I want to ask about the overall energy of the house. We'll start there,
Mhm.
because my next question after that was how is that energy so strong that why it can't be protected? So, everybody, grab your cards and pull cards on the energy of the home itself, not the land, but the home itself.
Um, well, I mean, it kind of already just goes with what I was just really what I was saying. I mean, I got the world and I've got Page of Swords in reverse. The
Ah,
Page of Swords in reverse is bad news, temper tantrums, gossip, rumors. The world means that it just keeps going because it's on the visit the haunted parts. Um, part of the folklore is how already the bloody state uh turned a bloodthirst into a crazy or a blood crazed individual that would hurt her own children just because they weren't boys because she couldn't trust a girl to look at her husband or to look at her children and like like outside of them being a sibling. You know, they just didn't want to compete with
Right.
a girl. It's disgusting, but um, and I don't believe it was just them. I like the owners would say that before they started like renting the house out, they lived in it for a few years before they ever rented it out. Like after Paula Sims had been convicted and arrested and all of that, they lived in it first before they started like opening it up to live in the public for the public. And they would talk about how like cabinets would just open and close and open and close. So they gutted out everything because they were still living in her energy of it, you know.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they said that it just had this weird smell, and so they ripped out like the fireplace because there was rumors that she burnt the girls' clothes, like any girl clothes. She would come home like from going to stores, or if she found anything that represented a girl that maybe got too close, or I don't,
Uh-huh.
like I said, I don't know. It's hearsay. I don't know any of
Right.
it. It's
Right.
just part of the folklore, that she would
Well,
she would burn it
interesting because
in
all
the
three cards I
fireplace.
pulled were male cards.
Yeah, all males were safe
Yeah.
around her. Every stranger male, even if you know were only just walking past her on the sidewalk, you were safe. But if you were a female, you weren't safe. You were
That,
not safe. She
that's
saw you as an
crazy.
as
Mhm.
competition, and something that needed to be removed, annihilated, something that was
Yeah.
bloodthirsty like she was. You weren't going to get her. She was going to get you first.
Interesting. Yeah. Um, so what I found interesting, I got this Emperor card.
Mm.
So it's definitely some a dominant energy there, that like a primary dominant energy. And I got this card too. So it's of, I don't think he was it. It was. I don't think. I feel like this energy like didn't manifest there. Like I'm wondering if somehow, some way, through an object or something, it ended up there at that house or on that property. Um, and then I got this card. It's the Ten of Cups, but I'm not looking at Ten of Cups. I'm looking at the image, a man and a lot of beer. So the energy, I feel like it makes the people feel kind of in a drunken state, or a state where they can't think with clarity, and uh, that's the beginning stages of the person who moves in there. Is that energy is so strong that it affects. I feel like I'm very. Did you get dizzy too? Because I'm like equilibrium.
Yeah, it just lightheadedness a little bit. I'm still not feeling the greatest. I've been fighting a lot of barometric pressure with the tropical depression that just kind of went through the south, and I'm in the south, and it went right right over us, and well, you know, all around us, so to speak.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I my my team is like telling me that the pressure kind of is coming back, so you might be picking up on that, or your guides might be just
Yeah,
letting you know like what it feels like right now for me.
could be, could be.
And they so there's this lingering, so there's this thing that lives there in this house, and I'm not going to talk about it, guys, because I'm not going to feed it any energy, but
Okay,
it almost cost me a lot. But with that being said, I'm stronger than it. I was stronger than it when I moved in, but it took it a minute, but it did eventually break me down, and
right,
I had to move out of that house. But you want to know what it is, that there's something in that basement that lives there, and it's not there's no light there. It's not even darkness, it's a nothingness that is
right,
so unhealthy, and there, it's bottomless. There's never enough. I don't know. Look, I don't. Mm. I don't recommend anybody visit the house. It once it gets you, it gets it.
Uh-huh.
It, it took me a long time for it to break the full connection. And listen, like once it gets even a smidgen bit of its root in
Mhm.
you, like
Mhm.
it doesn't let go. It doesn't let go easily. And
Right.
this woman, when she got out of prison, she actually won an appeal, which to this day I can't figure out how that happened. But I made sure once she started going and playing the battered wife syndrome, and she was not in, not from what they showed me, she was the uh aggressor every single time, not her husband, even though she won on technicalities, kind of like how Faye Copeland did. But listen, that's a story for another time. But I can tell you all about Faye Copeland too. Um, she's another one. Like, and I personally know this. That woman is that woman's worse than Paula Sims. That's all I can say. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Whenever you want, just let me know.
Yeah,
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 listen, there's something there that lives there, and I'm not going
yeah.
to say its name. I'm not going to tell you what kind it is.
Right,
I'm just
right.
going to tell you that
Mhm.
it's not, it's,
Wow.
if the Bible has the best version of spirit in it for good, I mean, in who all's eyes, in whoever's eyes.
Right,
I'm not a religious person.
right,
I'm just saying, when you look at your spiritual divination tool, whatever
right.
you feel the strongest connection to is the lightest, brightest, strongest connection to your source, to your God. This
Right.
would be the exact opposite
The
of
opposite.
the nothing,
Right.
the emptiness, the time by yourself. Listen, and time is not meant to be done
Right.
alone. That is a type of torture that can't be. And then it turn. Look, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm done with
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
just yeah, there's something
Yeah. Well,
there
interesting
that
enough,
lives
Brenda
there.
pulled the
You
devil
can't just
card
remove it.
on that.
You can't just remove it.
Well, that's okay. That brings me to my next
Into my
question.
next question.
I want to know why your protection didn't work. So I want to pull cards on that. With all the
Um,
protection rituals you did, how is it still able to affect?
well,
Um,
because I'm one entity, and this thing is an entire source of of
right.
of negative. I'm one
It
little
reminds me.
ant or a piece of white grain of sand, or I'm one little piece of hope against an entire source of negative.
It
Like
reminds me
you,
of. There's a card
I don't.
in the Pagan Otherworlds deck. Um,
My butterfly unicorn deck. I want that deck so bad.
okay, so the Devil card, his coat with all the people in that coat. Do you do you need me? Well, anyway, that's the
I
vision
don't.
I got. That
I I got.
this
I understand.
this entity you're talking about is has a multitude of other entities within its being, so to
Oh,
speak.
oh yeah, it's not
Yeah.
solo. It's not solo. I just
Wow.
believe so. Listen, it there is that house was built it's not even ground zero. It's just that big that it goes all of that, like the whole like area itself is the center of a dark well that just goes straight. It's a straight line to the nothing, to the empty, to the
Wow.
negative. There's no yin yang, there's no light. No, there light can't even touch it. Light can't even penetrate it. It's like
Right.
having a toenail infection and you think that your creams are actually helping you. It's got a protection shield that bounces it off. It's rubber and your glue. Whatever you say bounces off of it and comes back
Wow.
and just sticks to you. My
Yeah.
team got drained eventually after I lived there for over 2 years. Like I literally know I got to the point where I was so drained, it was literally killing me. Literally, it was killing me.
Oh my
I was 120 pounds. I was bone. I couldn't
wow.
breathe. I was horrible. I was so sick in that house. It was killing me. I had to literally leave the house. I had to physically remove myself. My family had to come, and then once I was gone, my family went back, and like we looked like the crazy family that grabbed hands and did a circle around this whole house trying to lock in whatever it was to break its connection of me, because no matter how far away I got from the house, it was still pull me back. It was still draw my energy. It was still in my nightmares. It was still in my waking hours. It was still haunting me. It was still torturing me. And I literally had to like sever the vein of myself almost just to break the connection that it had finally put root. It had finally seeped in and taken root. Like there is, you can only take so much before even the strongest gets weak. I never invited it in, but you can only
It was
stand
there,
alone and
ready.
against the whole damn source of negative. Like you can only
Yeah,
do so much.
yeah,
I did as much as I could for as long as I could, but I had to go. I had to go.
yeah,
I couldn't take it anymore.
right. Well, I pulled some cards just asking why. I want to see what the cards say, and
Mhm,
it's interesting because you battled with your energy, and I particular card. And this is like good versus evil. That thing in the cave. You said it was in a dark hole. There's a hole there, and
mhm,
it is a battle of good versus evil. And we all know in this world, good doesn't seem to always. It's not that they don't win. They get put at a standstill, so to speak. I got the justice card too. Interesting enough.
mhm.
Um, uh, so I'm trying to think of why was this energy so strong. Um, so I'm going to read this as reverse. There was such an injustice done. Um, just unjust energy all over. I want So I just thought that I just needed another card. I got the moon card.
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
that that dark void, that mystery, that uh, it has. I can see it has power over everybody. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna stop there just so that we can uh, keep going here. Um, so I want to ask about. You said you kept hearing boys' voices, right?
Mhm.
Or
Yeah. Laughing, giggling, playing. Yep, little
and it
healthy
was
little boy.
and it wasn't girls giggling.
No, never heard any girls. Never heard any girl names. Um, but when a girl would pass through, just pass through, she would. I. It's almost like her energy would get trapped in that basement, and her innocence was still feeding. Like it became that little girl's essence, that little girl's innocence became a hamster on a wheel that
Oh,
now is now feeding the dang on nothingness. Like you said the word good versus evil. That's the shallowest version that
right.
our human brains can comprehend, because it's not that.
Mm,
It's not that at all.
mm,
It's not that. I am a beacon of light. I know I don't
right.
look like it, I don't sound like it, I don't talk like it, I don't walk like it, and I am not about to try to scratch my dang on skin just to prove it to someone, right?
Right.
If anything, I need to keep it contained because I go up against some horrible, horrible energies. And I do believe that that house called out to me for help, and I tried. I don't believe that the house wanted to become what it was, but the house was made of wood, and the house was made of emotion, and the house was
Mm,
sitting connected to an energy that was being fed by a circus act, a clown, a dirty ass joker, like someone that wasn't even worthy of the town, that was
Right.
not doing the town right. He was robbing the town, and that town was feeding his psychopath mind frame, and he's the mayor and he's the good guy. But shit, he's not
That's
helping,
like the
like
emperor
it
card I pulled.
contaminated everything. Yes,
Yeah.
every part.
Yeah.
There, it's still not healthy. And I just recently left
Yeah.
that area. I'm telling y'all, it's still not healthy. And I've been there my whole life, and I'm 50 years old, and I've been in that area my whole life. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. If you are not connected to nothing, and you can't feel nothing, and you don't have no gut conscious, you don't have no intuition, you don't have no imagination, you don't have nothing. You're not
Mhm.
remembering any essence of a version of you that had some version that was awake or remembering. You can live there and probably never even realize you are feeding a beast of some kind. Now, I don't, that's all I'm going to say. You can be completely oblivious if you want to, but you're doing it because
Mhm.
it called you there. If you're there and you love it, it's because it called you there. It, and I'm gonna just leave it at it. It is a monster.
It
It's a
right,
cryptid
right,
like no other. It's not what you can imagine. It called you there. It wanted you there. You didn't
right.
want to be there. You didn't choose that place. That place chose you.
Interesting. So Lily Witchy One makes me wonder who actually built that town and or that the house and or that town. Um, do we know the founders of the town? Do you know?
Greed. Greed built it.
Mhm.
It was built. It was built through um a booming situation and timeline, and then it grew on greed and bloodlust and
Much like a Las
dirty money.
Vegas thing.
And there's a lot of history there. There's good, don't misunderstand me.
Sure.
There's good in every situation, but the soul of this is
Yeah.
not good.
Mhm.
It's not good. And like I said, good versus evil is a very shallow human
Yeah.
concept. That's not even scratching the surface layer of what it actually
Right.
is. It's
Right.
so much more than that.
All right. Well, let's pull some cards on the boys that you were hearing.
Okay.
I want to know more about them and why they were there and uh you know, did they die in that house? So I want to maybe make that a two-part question: is who were they and did they die in that house? I might pull the pendulum on that one. So I want to know what the energies. For the, I got the dreary squirrel came out just now.
Oh,
Oh, he's a cute little guy. Dreary squirrel. Okay, so I want to know the
okay.
energies of these boys. So were they malevolent? Were they just innocent? Um,
So I can tell you what they told me. That's their strongest form to go against this. The only thing that can beat it is pure innocence.
mm,
And innocence stops at, unfortunately, the age of 12. I know that sounds crazy to put a number on it, but innocence in the world of what's happening over there is 12. Once the teenage uh mind kicks in, the innocent mind is no longer freely thinking. It's now being influenced by hormones and testosterone
right,
and
right.
chemicals and all kinds of things, right? I know it sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
it's 12, right? So they are all different ages, but they are the ancestors that try to come back. Like when I'm on the other side, I want to come back as an ancestor or a child of Gaia, and I want to try to help. Right? I don't
Mhm,
want to be part of the problem. I don't want to just wander around over there like it could happen. Right?
mhm.
But them children, they're the ancestors of all of us that try to help. That people give us a bad name because they want to be scared of things that go bump in the night and things that do bad things or that make good people turn psycho, and it happens like Amityville Horror, the Amityville
Mhm.
house. That took a whole family that was a decent family and turned them into something else. That wasn't a psychopath before he moved into that house. He was turned into that. Although she was a psycho, bloodthirsty psychopath when she moved in, the people that lived there before her were not, but yet they went crazy. There was an older couple that said that they could hear and see, like they would hear little boys' balls running and playing, like they were just up and down on the stairs or up and down on the
Yeah,
hallway,
yeah.
because there was a long hallway in the on the third floor. But the strongest part is when the veil is thin. So right at Samhain and at Beltane,
Yeah.
when the veil is the thinnest at both of those equinox kind of times,
Right.
um, it's the most highly active. Obviously, spring is for the lighter side of it, the healthier innocence of the
Yeah,
energy,
yeah.
and then obviously Samhain is for the darker parts, the more maleficent. So it does come in energy, but I do believe that the children are just ancestors and they come back in that form so that they have their strongest
I get
chance.
it.
But
Yeah.
sometimes a girl will slip through there, but a girl unfortunately gets caught up and the
Yeah.
energy gets used in the
Is that
wrong
house
way.
next to a school? Near a
Yeah.
school?
Yes, it's being fed by children's energy all the time because it's literally right next door to an elementary school, not even a high school or a middle school,
That's what,
a
yeah,
freaking
she didn't say that,
elementary
but that's what I
school.
was thinking. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's
yeah.
interesting you say all that about the ancestors stuff. Is this card image I got with all the little beings here,
Mhm.
um, and the Eight of Wands, and it's just that um, the I don't know. It's like the information. I got lost a real second. I got lost in my own card here. Um, just a lot of energy is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of energy there, and
Yes.
this card would make sense with what you were just saying, talking about. If you feel it's the ancestors coming through, and I asked if what did I ask when I pulled these cards? If why are they there if they died there? And I got the Judgment and the Star cards together, which was
Um,
really interesting.
that's definitely interesting. Wow. Okay. Okay. Hmm.
So maybe they were trying to bring in the balance. I know that's the not the Judgment card, but just the thought of the angels being there, but that they maybe they are there to like guard the tenants against this being
Yeah.
by their
Yes.
innocence and their power, their light seems to be strong enough to keep it at bay ish. Keep it at bay.
Hmm.
um
Hmm.
uh, well, anyways, that's part of my story. So was Star over Judgment? No, the Judgment was over the Star card when I pulled. Um, yeah, the Judgment was on top of the Star card. Um, uh, Julie's doing some googing. There was a fire there in May at the house,
Oh
Julie.
wow, really?
Mm.
Holy
Like Charlotte
cow.
says, children are the light. Yeah.
That man, that doesn't surprise me. So, I got serpent in reverse. So there's a type of magic that isn't it's like you know how Latin is a dead language? There's a type of magic that would have been used by very commonly a very long time ago. I, I think so. I think that whatever this is, this uh, uh,
Entity?
this beast, yeah, yeah, yeah. This thing, I believe it was conjured from a time. So now, again, this is just me knowing a little bit about the history, growing up on the land,
Okay.
talking with a
Okay.
lot of ancestors and understanding a little differently, right? Because a lot of people felt sorrow and remorse once they realized, once they got on the other side, it wasn't what they thought it was. It was something completely different, and
Mm,
they're caught in a situation where now they have maybe even a penance to pay. They don't get to go just on to the next. They're not crossing the great divide, so to speak. They're not getting that rainbow bridge opportunity as some most people think about, right?
right.
Um, they now have a consequence because they didn't serve it in uh, this time. They have to serve it in another way, right?
Interesting how the
So
judgment card came up then.
so the Mississippians would have allowed a lot of genres and a lot of different ways where you could have come with your way and your lifestyle, and you would have been treated equally. Even with language barriers,
Mhm.
monks lived there from different parts of the world, freed slaves, escaped slaves,
Right.
different tribes, different types of homesteaders who all would have lived in a very, very large amount of land, right? What we now call a couple of different cities, all would have been just one thing, and it would have been the Mississippians, right? So when a bad bunch of my own kind of heritage comes in there. Vikings come in. They came in deceiving, and there was some British that had kind of lied to them and set them up. And well, pagans being who they are and believing in the gods and goddesses of their time and of their era, they would have had different rituals that they would have used in blessings, ceremonies, and what we have now cord cutting ceremonies. So they would have been trying to bring their culture in. And in the process, I do believe that it was the British that didn't accept it because it wasn't Christian. And they were trying to force, at that time, Christianity down the throats of
Right.
uh, a group of people that didn't know exactly quite what that was. Long story short, I believe that the Mississippians called for help against uh,
Oh.
said invaders, and the land itself came to consume the negative the way they kind of told me. Like, these are very old people trying to still talk in a way where language is not what it was then, what it is now. So
Mhm.
they would have wanted something like a sludge, a golem to absorb this fierce bunch of ships that just came up the Mississippi River and is now taking their land without permission, taking
Right.
their women without permission, their animals, their stock, their crops, their whatever.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I do believe that they called on Gaia herself to say, because it's a lot of swampland in that area too, with the Mississippi River right there. There's a lot of swampland, and I do
Interesting.
believe that some of the swampland was used to create a golem of some sort back then, of a
Oh,
different kind of magic that is no longer practiced. And I do believe that it went negative.
when you
It happened,
start out innocent
unfortunately.
with something, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
old tale right there. That's very interesting, Hershey.
Yeah, we have the
Mm,
what started out as just needing solitude and needing peace of mind quickly
mhm,
turned into the serpent. So peace of mind quickly went into an unhealthy rebirth of something negative,
right.
and this very disgusting serpent, I'm sorry, I picked it
Mhm.
up in the wrong position, came out on the other side of what was hoping for just peace. Unfortunately, there was so much negative invited in. It overwhelmed it and took over it, I believe, and that's how they understand it and tell the
Yeah.
story of the negative that now lives freely on the land there and consumes and must have bloodshed. And East St. Louis is one of the deadliest cities in America. Unfortunately, you Google deadliest cities in America, and
Mhm.
right there in the top, I think three is going to be East St. Louis, Illinois. And I spent most of my life growing up there, so I saw a lot of things that I
Oh,
shouldn't see. And then you got the
wow.
Mississippi, and there's a lot of bodies that turn up just in the Mississippi just because it's Tuesday, and there's a couple bodies that just went floating by, and you're like,
Um,
they got a stick. Get them out of there.
right. Charlotte says an energy like that still needs energy, and I had something on my land at one time, and due to the
Yeah,
levee,
it
the ley lines, etc., there
mhm.
was a lot of energetic traffic. This
Yep.
energy would trap all forms of energy.
It's still fed. Yeah, it's very
Wow.
much still fed. They
To
do
keep its
haunted
power.
Alton trips and camp here and camp there and hunt here and hunt there.
Wow.
And unfortunately people don't hunt in the right way. And they're curious to it, and I love that they are so curious to it, but it's not their lane and they don't know what they're doing, and they're bringing the wrong tools, they're saying the
Uh,
wrong things, they're doing the wrong ways of bringing the wrong things in, and instead of doing it in a controlled, safe environment, they're just
right.
told, "Go play, kids. It's
Oh my god.
be home for street lights. Come on, don't matter what happens, go play in the street." And that's exactly the mentality that they have. Yeah, and they
Uh,
don't understand what they're up against,
right.
and
Right.
it's not the same as just going to your local cemetery and playing Ghost in the Graveyard here. You're
Yeah.
up against
Yeah.
something that not it's so ancient. No human alive within the last 3,000 years would have
Yeah.
even went up against this kind of
Right.
golem
Like I was saying
in
earlier, it
existence.
was, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Charlotte says, what I learned was that at one time a soul that didn't pass stuck forever gained its power from other forms of energy. Um,
Correct.
it's gone now. Okay.
Correct. And it feeds and feeds and feeds, and it becomes a bottomless pit that never can consume enough. There's never enough. It literally there's
Right.
never enough.
Wow. So, okay. So go ahead with your story because you talked about it end up getting physical.
Yeah, so me and my kids, at first it was me because I was obviously the one in the basement, and to be in the basement, she would use blood of the innocent little girl that she unalived. She used her umbilical cord blood and the baby's blood together, so she would make and open unclosable vortexes. So these are the
Oh my
spiral,
god.
yeah, or she would make glass, and she would put it she would shatter the negative energy in the glass. She would fill it up in the glass, and then she would shatter the glass, and then she would put it on this brick wall, and she would put more mortar and paste up in the basement to make the energy part of the vortex. So the spiral spinning was constantly like the never ending record player, right? It was constantly attached to a needle because the glass would have the shards and the points that would keep the spiral spinning, and you could never close it. And she had
Oh,
17 of them in the basement alone. She had them on
What?
all floors, but she had 17 in the basement, and all of the ones in the basement were negative charged.
And
So
this is
I would
Sims
wake
doing
up
that
with,
work.
yes, this is Paula Sims turning the house into what the house became. The house became something alive. It wasn't alive. It was negative, and it was in a very good place to be fed because it was next to a school and there wasn't anyone there living that had a bloodlust. So it was just kind of him hauling a thing here, a thing there, a trip here, a fall there, but
Right.
nothing escalating. But then when someone with true bloodlust moves in, that's like trying to control a psychopath. Good luck.
Well, Julie wants to know if that kind of story went into court when.
Listen, yeah, it's all in the transcript, or you guys can like she.
Wow.
It's I don't
She
know
admitted
how
to
much
doing
of
all
it
that?
now. I don't know how much of it you can verify, but
Right.
yes, she did try to use that the house tried, and then she tried to do she did everything she could, supernatural, paranormal, ghostly intended, but then after she noticed someone that had a very similar um capital crime in Missouri got off during due to abuse, spousal abuse. She started using that as her weapon, and unfortunately, Illinois fell for it, and they let her out. So I was so far away from her energy when I realized she was winning her appeal. I'm like, I'm out of here. But we
That
wake up with bruises. I woke up with strangle marks, bruises, cuts, things I couldn't explain. But then it started like moving up. Like my son would sleep in the main floor or fall asleep on the couch or something, and he would be like, "Man, I had the worst night ever. I had nightmares." He would wake up sometimes and he'd be knocking like on my basement door. I'd be like, Chris, what are you doing? And he would be knocking with his head. So he'd have this great big strawberry on his head. I'm like, what are you doing? Um, so it just affected all of us differently, but yeah, physically it was abusing me the most, mainly with bruises and cuts and me not wanting to live myself. It slowly was wearing me down.
so did you make your bedroom in the basement?
My whole living arrangements, like my living
Was
room was
in the
down there, my
basement
little
area. Okay.
kitchenette,
Okay.
my yeah, like my whole life was in.
Wow. Okay.
I had my own door, my own entrance. Like it was my little apartment, little, mother-in-law
Okay.
space with my kids. They had pretty much the whole main house. And then,
So your
upstairs, they
kids
all
were
had their own
adults then?
bedroom.
How
Yes,
old were
by
your
then,
adults?
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah, they were all adults.
Wow. Okay. So you started becoming energetically abused then.
Yes. Yeah.
Physically abused. Physically.
Yeah. No, yeah, physically, it like I would lose my breath. Excuse me, I was losing weight. I couldn't eat. I was throwing up. I was very sick. I was constantly in and out of the hospital. The doctors were like, "Where's all
Wow.
these marks coming from?" They thought I was literally. They thought my kids were beating me. Like my
Oh.
kids had to go to the hospital one time and be like, "We don't know what's going on. Like we live in this house." And then as soon as the hospital found out where I lived at, they stopped asking me. They were just like, "Are you okay?" Like when I would come in this time, like it was like they knew, like the house was like it wasn't human happening to me. It's like the
Wow.
hospital knew. Not
Wow.
every doctor believed me, but a lot of them were like, "Girl, we know."
Wow.
They knew. They knew there was just something not right. It was
Uh huh.
something not right about that house.
Right. Wow. So I know you.
I know you.
Oh my gosh, what was that? Um, you had told a story about the entity, but just for entertainment purposes only. I want to pull cards on where did this energy originate from. So I want to see if the cards um, tell a similar story or can add to your story? Because you were stating that you think it was conjured. Um,
From what I was told, yes, the
uh-huh.
Mississippians they came together
Yeah.
and created a mud swamp golem right out of the swamps right there at the edge of the Mississippi. So as long as the Mississippi runs in the
Hmm.
direction which is backwards, the golem
Oh
is
my
free to
gosh.
live.
Okay.
And the like a whole lot has to happen. You can't just make it go away. Like you, for one, you got to get the river to go back the original direction instead of backwards, and then you
Right.
have to have a certain amount of bloodshed, like a series of events, and I believe some kind of not like Haley's Comet, but there has to be a something overhead at the same. Like there was a whole thing that transpired that came to bring this golem to life to annihilate the British and the negative Vikings that were destroying their land and their colony. But it was it itself after that much consumption of
Right.
bloodshed and negative, it became that it consumed.
I got the magician.
Wow.
So that's validation right there. Interesting enough, I got the King of Swords as well. So there's definitely, like, say, with the head of the community,
Mhm.
tribe, if you will, or something. Um,
Right. Yeah, I believe he used his some of his own blood to like with the golem, like so that the golem would know which bloodline to
interesting.
protect, so to speak, and what
Okay,
was not, so
that makes
like
sense
I
because
don't
this
even know
he's
if there's
wearing
any of his
armor
bloodline even
here.
still alive.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so he's definitely wearing armor for protection, and that
Yeah, he
sword.
wanted to protect the Mississippians as much as he could, and
Right.
and other fellow those that lived on Great Turtle Island. They called it, they didn't call it America because it wasn't America then. It was something different. So
Mhm.
it was, the Great Turtle Island, and they just wanted to protect. They wanted to protect the water that fed
Yeah.
them, the land that
Yeah.
that helped keep them safe, and instead it swallowed them up.
Interesting. So I want to comment on Brendan. Brendan's new to tarot. He's learning Three of Pentacles. That's the community coming together. The Three of Pentacles. Um,
Uh, yeah,
when we
yeah, yeah.
that to try
The
to.
first sign of
So
probably profit too.
it's let's see what it's trying to say. Hopefully, the Earth ascending all will purge it from its land. Um, Julie said, someone in Facebook comments for the fire to call that to for the fire call to that house said there's bad juju in that house.
Oh, it's oh, you got that
So
right.
it's just well known for. Do you know if anybody's living there now? They shouldn't allow anybody to live
Oh
in
my
the
God. I
area.
would think they wouldn't, but Alton's greedy. It's a money hungry city. But I mean,
Sure.
Illinois is a greedy state. Period. Period. I lived there most of my
Uh-huh.
life, so I know what I'm talking about. That is a
Yeah.
greedy state. But Alton itself, it's a greedy city, and they're always open for tourists. So I would assume there's someone there feeding it, whether they're feeding it with fear or they are just feeding it with magic. They're feeding
Okay.
it some way, because even though I was feeding it with good, I was one person and it was draining my magic from me and also trying to turn me against myself because it didn't want me to see myself as powerful and good and a source of help. It wanted me
Right.
to see myself in the worst possible way. And I almost did. So I hope no one is. I swear, I don't mean that in a negative
Well,
way. But I
Julie's so
do
good
mean it in the
at
best way possible. I hope that no one's living there.
right. Julie's good at Googling. The house was sold April 23rd, and the fire happened on May 3rd.
That is
But
not a
apparently, it's
coincidence.
still standing. Wow. Somebody
They
tried to
they should do
baptize by
more.
fire.
They should do more. If it's still standing, they didn't do
Wow.
a good enough job. It's
My
rose red.
goodness.
If you've ever saw the movie Rose Red by Stephen King,
Oh, it's been
it is rose
forever.
red. It is alive. That house is alive, and it
That's
needs to
scary.
be unalived. The house itself and the McPike Mansion, which is not that far, they are on the same. Listen, they fall on the same ley lines, the same vertical line.
Wow.
Listen, I have done my homework. I have walked it out.
Wow.
It's not healthy. It's not healthy, and it needs to not be there.
Wow. Also say that was it a metaphor when you said the writing was on the wall, or was that
No, there was literally writing on the wall. She would write in blood, and she would etch with mason tools into the brick. She would
wow?
write on the drywall, and well, so the original inside of the house, had what by the owners that we rented from gutted it. They when they moved in shortly after Paula Sims was convicted, they bought
Mhm.
it for back taxes or something, some crazy uh way that they bought it, and they lived in it for a while, found out it was haunted, it was not right, it was something. So they tore out a bunch of stuff that they believed that she had intentionally done, and they tore out a lot of walls, a lot of drywall. So there was a lot of exposed wood and a lot of exposed brick that he made it look like it was part of the modern updos, but all it was exposing the energies that was seeping and saturating, that was no longer covered by drywall and tape and putty, and then another layer of paint and a layer of protection. No, none of that. None of that. The windows weren't replaced, so the energy was in all of it. The exposed brick, the exposed mason, the exposed cement, wood, the very light refresh that they did. They did what they could, but it was only enough to expose the bones, and it was like it gave it, like you took the cast off and now it's ready to
Right.
pull.
That's scary. Julie was asking, how can we find the ley lines in our own communities?
I don't work with them, but you would need an energy reader from how I
Mm.
understand it. But I don't know. Different people do it differently. But
Yeah,
you would need
I,
an energy reader to be able to tell you where to
yeah,
how to find.
I said dowsing rods, Julie. Um,
Yeah,
so
maybe.
I took a course. Well, it was a meetup, and we chose two people's houses. One was my own to find these like ley lines. She called them something different because these were lines, energetic lines that some say block abundance. They were blocking things in the house. So for some reason, this was so long ago, and they came to my house, and she said I had enough spiritual highways in my own home that an unusual
Oh, nice.
amount. Yeah, she said it was an unusual amount that would most two-story homes have. So,
Mhm, mhm,
um,
mhm.
and so she did her dissipate. She said there was a money block in front of my front door, and I thought, God, money's been good. And when she got rid of it, because she dissipated that one, my money situation got worse, funny enough. So I'm like,
Oh, I can
okay,
relate. Yeah, I
so
understand.
not all lines are blocks, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
And so, I
correct.
end up putting up my money grids and stuff like that. But a lot of
I
my
understand.
activity that was benign stopped happening when so I'm like, you dissipated good lines in my whole home. It was just so, but
Wow.
she used dowsing rods, and so we found. I told her that somebody told me I had a portal in my house, and
Oh,
did she call it a portal? She might have called it. I think. There's something else similar to portals, but it's not.
Oh yeah, you have
What's
portals,
the
vortexes, doors,
vortex? Thank
windows.
you, vortex. Well, anyways,
Well, as
either
long as
way.
it's not an active spinning one, they're okay. You don't ever want an active spinning vortex, whether it's negative or positive. You can have too much of a good thing. It just I don't care who you
I
are.
see.
You can
Uh-huh.
have too much of a good thing. You can have too much of a bad thing. You can have too
Wow.
much. And you never want an open vortex just spinning at all times. You want to be able to block
Interesting.
that
Right.
completely. You want to have a
Right.
firm stop where
Okay.
it can't roll and jump start and kick itself, because once it builds up enough momentum, it
Right.
can jump start itself. It becomes its
Wow.
own current of energy. So I would never say yes to a vortex. A portal,
Right.
yes. A
Portal,
window,
yeah.
yes. A
It was
door,
a
a
portal, she
tween.
said.
Yeah, queens are great, but portals are great.
Mhm.
Vortexes are negative or
Okay.
positive, however
Okay.
you want to look at it, depending on the
Right.
way it's spinning. They're
Okay.
constant
Yeah.
movement, so that's not something you want
Mhm.
all the time. So
Yeah.
I would hope
Well,
that
I
if that's
yeah.
there, you have a way to stop it, even
Yeah.
if it's a good one.
Right. She had mentioned that I had unknowingly created it, and I said,
Oh
"I know
yeah.
exactly where it is. It's at the foot of my
Uh-huh.
bed, and it's where I did my Reiki every morning."
Right.
And so you could actually feel the perimeter. Those who are
Mhm.
sensitive, it's I haven't tried to see if it's there in a long time because the activity went away. But using the dowsing rods, I can locate it, and
Mhm.
um, and I thought, oh, this is just because all these crystals are on my dresser. So I go to the dresser, and it open. My no is open, and so it's like, oh, it's not the crystals. So I went to my big window. Um, and again it opened, and I come back to my spot in front of my bed, and it located it there.
Mhm.
And I
I
made
love
sure
that.
that the intentions were always a good, it's a healing portal. So that's the intentions I put in there. But anyways, that's going off subject here. So some people are saying that you can find your ley lines during in Google or the town hall, maybe. That's interesting. Um, I
I
found
don't know.
online,
I use
right?
a
She's
trusted
looking at
energy
it.
reader.
We have much Native American land here. There's all kinds of traffic. Not anymore. It's, okay, I thought you were talking about how you found out the portal. Um, bye, Jilly. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Um, so, Charlotte says the entity made a vortex here.
Mhm.
Oh, that's at your house. John Binney. Oh, John Binney
It
helped
can
put me
happen.
up
Yeah.
on
It and then so it's like a little carburetor, right? And then the carburetor can like spit out once it gets enough um negative or positive charge, it can spit out like imagine that part in Gremlins where when you got Gizmo wet and
that.
he
Yeah,
started spitting
right.
out little mogwai all over the place, right? Or gremlins. They weren't even
Mhm.
mogwais, they were gremlins, right?
He
So
was the
imagine
Mogwai, they
that.
were the Grim.
So yeah, yeah. Gizmo was the Mogwai, the good one, and then the Gremlins were
Yeah, yeah.
the whatever, right? So, the Gremlins were what happens when they get wet. So, long story short, yeah, it's like that. So, after so long, this little self-propelled engine, it becomes the little engine that could. It becomes not just bigger, but it can spit out different things. It collects like sludge and junk, and then once it's built up, like even a dryer, it collects lint. After so long, it starts spitting lint out into the air. It kind of does that thing. So then now you have this spitting this out in just in these horrible directions, because it's like moving and sludging around, because it's all initially created from swamp sludge. It's a golem, so it can become nothing and become liquid, in a so to speak, or it can
Right.
become a solid mass that can
I keep
consume any
picturing in my
amount of
mind,
space.
you're right, the movie in Poltergeist at the end where the house just gets swallowed up by the land.
Yeah, it's something in
It's
the line of,
energetically being
yeah,
swallowed,
it's
right?
yes, yes,
And
yes.
you say
Eventually, it will
she
become, it will hopefully consume itself, but I don't
right.
know if any of us alive today or
Mm,
the next few generations. I think it's going to be around for quite. It's been around for 2,700 years already, or at
wow.
least it thinks it's that old. I don't know if
Mhm.
it's that old, but
Right,
it says it's that old. It could just be
right.
going by the the direction in time it exposed itself.
Mhm.
At a wee little grain of sand before it became the
Mhm.
totem that it is today.
Right, right.
So I don't know, but I
Yeah,
don't think any of us alive for the next
yeah,
few hundred years are going to know a break from
yeah,
the nothingness of the negative that it
yeah,
can spit
right.
out.
Well, again, entertainment purposes only. Let's pull some cards to ask about that. Will it eventually consume itself? I would like to pull a card on that one. Will this vortex eventually disappear, consume itself?
I got Ten of Pentacles in reverse.
Oh, oh, look what I got. I got this. Okay, there's this evil entity right here.
Yeah, I think it's actually going to go against tradition. Like I think eventually it will implode, but not for a very very long time.
Yeah,
The Ten of Pentacles says eventually it's going to get tired of itself, and it's going to want to recreate itself in a different way. So it'll have to implode at some point.
right,
But I think it's a very long way away from now, considering it's the 10. So it's nowhere near full yet. So
right. Well, yeah, I got the page Sora. Like it's only in the beginning of its time, you know.
yeah,
It's still
it's still
wanting
very
more and
early.
more knowledge, and but I don't know if you can see her eyes are all black here. I love this
Yeah.
image. And then I
Mm.
got Five of Wands. It's like it's going to be an eternal battle, you know.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. It's gonna take something much stronger than us.
wow.
I think,
It's
yeah,
interesting. That's the second card I get of like light versus dark.
yeah, it's not going down easily, I can tell you that.
Wow.
It's a few candles
Um,
and a matchstick is not it's not intimidated by
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay, so you had strangle marks, you said, and
I did.
scratches and
I did.
scratches.
I did,
Did you
and bruises,
feel
like
these? Why
big
they
bruises.
happened, or you woke up with these?
I woke up with them.
Wow.
I'm like my whole hip, my whole back of my shoulder, like my thigh, like my kids are like, "Mom, where are these bruises coming from?" And I'm like, "I don't
Wow.
know." Like I couldn't tell you. They're more like hematomas. They're not even bruises. Like they were black. They were horrible. But the scratches and the ones around my throat, my kids, they at that point, and I was
Mhm.
just a little over 100 something pounds. My kids were like, nope, nope. And they called my family and they were like, hey, mom's got to come there. Mom's got to get out of this house. Like,
Yeah.
she can't do this anymore. And I I had to leave. I mean, I was fighting with the kids. The kids were fighting with each other. It was just a huge, huge war zone inside the home, outside the home.
Right.
But you get far enough away, a few
Uh-huh.
blocks, and all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I can breathe. Why was I trying to kill you? Why did you try to kill me? And
Interesting enough, Brendan pulls the Eight of Cups, and it's like, yes, it's time to leave. It's time to get out of there.
it
It's
definitely
not
was.
healthy. It was not a healthy place. Wow.
I don't know how many more cards. My head is starting to hurt a
Yeah,
little
well, I
bit,
was just
Ginger.
going
I
to say, do
apologize.
you have any questions yourself that you want to pull cards on?
Not when it comes to that house. There is a lot of
Okay.
things I am so curious that I really want to dive in, but we talk about this house, like this, like I got to keep it right at surface level, only because of my own actual real life
Absolutely.
encounter with that house. And
Yeah.
if it ever finds me again, I know
Mm.
I'm not far enough away. I don't give a damn what anyone says. I could be in another country, and if it finds me, I'm not far enough away, and I know
Wow.
I'm not safe, and I don't
I
care
think that
how
you feel that
long
way.
it takes. It will wait. It will break me down, and no, 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 no. So this everything I
Wow.
said is very shallow. I never spoke its name. I'm not going to, because just because I know its name, that doesn't give it full power. I don't have full power over it. In fact, it just laughs and says, "You human, you thought you gave me, you thought you could like just take me." That's a shallow little actual little peasant demon. You go get the parasite. Go right ahead. You that doesn't even be. I'm above your gods. You know.
Right.
So no, no, I'm not. We can talk about
Yeah.
anything else though. We can have fun with that any other time, but not with this one.
Wow. Yeah. Well, Hershey, I appreciate you sharing this story with
Mm,
everyone tonight. And
I appreciate
many
you
of us
for
didn't
asking.
even know about Paula Sims. And that's uh, that's like a whole nother show just to talk about her. And this the other lady you were talking about um, that started with a J. What was her name? J.
Um,
Uh,
Faye Copeland.
Faye Copeland, not Jay.
Yeah,
Faye.
Faye. Yeah,
Oh my God.
FAYE. Faye
Yeah.
Copeland, Missouri, DOC. You'll find her.
Wow. Wow.
And,
Okay.
she was another one.
Well,
I lived with her. I know that
what?
woman. Like I said, another story,
You
another time,
attract
another
all kinds,
paranormal.
don't you?
I do, I do. I was designed that way.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to thank everyone for being in chat and participating. Very interesting card pulls to a very intriguing story. And for Hershey's safety, she doesn't want to delve any deeper, and we can respect that. These are energies that we don't want to challenge, right?
No. No, I'm laughing, but guys, it's to keep from freaking the F out. Like,
Right.
what the for real?
What
Like,
the Fae?
yeah, what the fuck?
What the actual Fae?
Yeah, yes,
All
very
right.
much so.
Okay, so anybody, if you've not subscribed to Hershey, please do so. You can scroll up. Brendan's been putting her link in, and just as I am, Hershey's trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you can do her a blessing and go over to her channel, um, and tell everybody what you do on your channel real quick before we go.
Oh my God, we have fun. I have one requirement, and that is that you have a seatbelt because there's no damn telling. We play games, we talk about things that hurt us way back when. We laugh, we heal, we lift. Did I say we laugh and we play games, we have fun? Listen, we just find another way to see things from a different perspective on my channel, and it doesn't cost you anything to be there. I don't say that to throw it up in anyone's face,
Right,
but
right.
we're all
Yeah,
members of this thing called life, and that's good enough for me. And everybody's welcome as long as they don't have any finger pointing judgment when they come my way, because we play whack a troll over there, and I don't care how real you are. Your
it.
ass can get removed too. So it's just fun, it's lighthearted, and it's all about
Mhm.
healing on my channel in
I
any
love
way
it.
that looks.
Uh-huh. Oh, perfect, perfect. Well, all right. Again, Hershey, stick around backstage. I'm going to play us
Sure.
out. And everyone, do you have anything coming up real quick before we leave?
Monday at 11 Central is Meta Messages. Every Monday is
Oh,
messages
let me
from
write that down.
Metatron. Yeah, that's where my week starts at 11 o'clock. And then sometimes I pop up in the afternoon. Sometimes you just never know with me. But my day starts every Monday at 11 Central with
Okay.
Metatron.
So that'd be 12 p for me, right?
Yes.
And then tomorrow, if anybody's interested in Merlin energy, Sun Psychic Jean and I are doing my other mystery show, Mysteries and Legends. We're doing Merlin. So we're going to be tapping into Merlin's energy. We're going to learn a little bit about his life and his connections. And we just found out about his connections with dragons, which anybody who knows Jean and
Mhm.
I do dragon readings. So that's very fascinating. So that's tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. If y'all have nothing on your schedules and want to pop in and join us, we'll have a lot of fun doing that too. Who doesn't love Merlin, right?
Who doesn't love dragons? I myself am a
Right.
dragon, the mother of dragons. I'm a grandmother of dragons. I
Oh,
love dragons. I love
perfect.
Merlin.
I
I'll
love
pay
Merlin.
attention.
Yeah. So, yeah, so everybody, if you will, please hit that like button. And after the show's over, if you can pop in a comment or two, let us know how you felt about this story. And it does help my channel grow. And I'm really trying to go places on the channel. I love Tarotnormal. The Tarotnormal is how I launched my channel. I was doing readings on other people's channels for about a year, but Tarotnormal, um, Lavender Moon helped me launch my channel because I kept getting all the cold feet. Cold
Hmm.
feet syndrome to launch the channel. And so we actually did it by doing a paranormal investigation. So I'd love to do more if
Oh,
you or know anyone who has a story to tell that you want to investigate. Charlotte, give me a call if you want to. I know things are fixed now, but it's still questions that can be answered. So, anyways, and hey, Roman, who just popped in. Um, so, yeah, so I'm going to end the stream, everybody. Have a good weekend and please stay safe. Remember to ground and protect your energy each and every day. So, mwah. All right, Fae blessings. But in this one, you don't get the Fae, but you get the Gothic Fairy. Bye, everyone.